In the past few videos I've talked about how the shape and even the mouthpiece can affect just the overall general sound and feel of the Warhorn. But the biggest contributor in actual pitch, which is different than just the general sound it makes, the biggest difference in pitch, if you're looking for certain pitches, is usually determined, or mostly determined by the size. But of course, the shape of it, the width of it, all of that is going to also play a difference in potentially in the pitch as well. So I was sitting here thinking, how can I do a video to show accurately just the size, how just the size affects it and nothing else? So I actually thought, okay, well, I have two horns that are actually like pretty much the exact same shape or almost the same shape. They're from the same species, and I thought, okay, this is probably the best way that I can do that. Unfortunately, though, one is just medium, the other one's large, so I don't have a small and a large to do a very stark pitch difference. But it is enough of a pitch difference that you will be able to tell that one is definitely substantially higher pitched than the other. So here I'm going to get these here off the bench. I've got two kudu horns, and actually kudu, if you don't know what kudus are, they're actually very common, they're not endangered at all, they're a very common species found in Africa. And so I'm trying to turn that and see if I can line them up there. So that's about the size difference there. And they're very similar in shape. So basically the only main contributing factor as to the different pitch is going to be the size. So first, I just want to say real quick that these were eco-friendly. They were salvaged from people who actually ate the entire animal, which, you know, we don't do that very often here in America. Unfortunately, in America, we waste like half the meat. Well, what they did is they salvaged every last edible piece of meat, and then they salvaged the bone, the horn, the skin, and they just basically what they do is they throw them in piles, like huge piles of horns and bones and things. And when they're piled up like that, they're not designed to be for taxidermy or for trophy hunting or for anything like that. They're designed literally just to salvage the stuff that you can't physically eat and make it into something else and use it. So people will make all different sorts of things out of horns and bones and things. These two were sold to a trader company, and then the trading company legally imported them to America, and then we're just selling them as, you know, loose, separate, you know, not sets, just loose, separate for craft. And if you look at these, if you still don't believe me, if you look at these, you look how rugged and ragged they are. It's meant for just a nice salvage craft project. And I personally can't stand trophy hunting, so I wanted to make sure that I did not get something that was trophy hunted, that I got something where people ate the animal and salvaged it. And that's the biggest indication that you can tell if it doesn't look like it's supreme quality, and they're not selling it as a set. They're selling it just random in a pile of a bunch of other horns. That usually just means that they have done a actually good deed and shown gratitude to the animal by eating everything that they could and then salvaging the stuff they couldn't even eat. So moving on finally to the demonstration, I'm going to first do the bigger one, and then I'm going to do the smaller one, and I'm going to show you just back to back kind of how they sound and the different pitches that they make without humming into them. Now if you hum into them, obviously you are going to be changing the sound because your hum is going to be affecting, you know, the pitch of this. So I'm not going to hum into it, I'm just going to blow into it. That's all I'm going to do, and it's going to be its natural, just baseline pitch. And again, this one's still, you know, despite it being a lot smaller, it's still pretty big, so it's still going to have a pretty lower pitch to it. So that was actually very different pitches from one another, despite not being that much different in size. It's going to depend on the width, again, the shape, the species also. So there's not going to be like just a quick and easy, okay, if this is this size, then it's going to be this pitch regardless of the shape or the width or what. No, unfortunately, it's all going to have contributing factors added into that, and so unfortunately you're not going to know exactly how much difference each individual horn is going to sound unless you've kind of played around with the different kinds of horns that are out there and the different the different shapes that are out there. But that does not change the general factor that yes, the size is going to be the biggest contributing factor in pitch. It's just, that doesn't change that. It just means that, you can't sit here and be like, oh, okay, so this is mathematically going to be this much higher every time, just based off size alone. Unfortunately, that's not going to happen. If you had two different cattle horns that were the same ratio, I don't know if it would be that stark of a difference in pitch or not, because I haven't tested it out, and they're two totally different widths and shapes than kudu horns. So just keep that in mind, but I hope that helps a little bit to show how the size can affect the pitch.